In this video, we are going to do an additional animation, which will be the fire breathing animation for this Charizard character. Now, this is something she may want to do. You may just want to view, so you may maybe get additional insights. So it's up to you if you. This is a totally optional a part of the process. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to add on to the end of our existing animation. Actually, I want to have this end at 650, and I want this to start at 250. And I'm going to change my my starting point to 250 as well. So now I have this section of I can animate here. So the first section being from frame 1 to frame 250, nothing will be changing. That's going to stay the same. Now from 250 to 650, that's going to be where we're going to animate our fire breathing portion of this. So first thing I want to do here, let's go ahead and start off with the neck again. And I'm going to start off by placing a frame at the very beginning. So I just hit the insert keyframe, rotation, and then I'm going to the very end and also insert a rotation keyframe. It doesn't seem like it inserted, so let's try this again. That's odd. It is not inserting it for me. I'm not sure what's going on there. We'll go ahead and just copy this keyframe then. Oh, I have it locked. Okay, that's my fault. I locked it earlier. So let's go to the very beginning of this and insert keyframe there. Now let's go to the very end of this. And there you go. Now that should be working. I totally forgot that I locked it in the previous video. So here, what we want to do is we want to kind of think about, if this character is going to do this really big movement, it's like almost like a two-part process. One is gathering and absorbing the energy, and the second part is releasing the energy, right? And so what we're going to do here is we're going to, from frame 250, I think, to like 400, we're going to have this kind of gather animation happening, and then from maybe we'll say 400 to 500, it's releasing all of its energy, and then it'll kind of be calming down again as it progresses to 650. So let's go ahead and think about what's going to be the peak of this, right? So I want the head to be tilted back. It's going to be like firing a fireball right into the air here. So I'm going to rotate this back. And I think probably something like here might be good. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And because I have the auto key on, once I have adjusted that, it'll automatically set a keyframe there. And then I think that at 500, I want to bring it back down a bit. So I'm just going to copy and paste that. So it's going to be up here. And to come back down. But I also want to kind of stay up there for just a moment. So I'm going to kind of have it moving around up there. And maybe I even want it to almost kind of like spit the fire across, right? So maybe it gets up here and it twists its head this direction, and maybe halfway through it twists its head that direction, and then back. So let's just see how this looks. And this is a little bit playing by ear. So there it's kind of spinning around, comes back down. There you go. Nothing too crazy. So that's kind of the highlight point, and we'll get the jaw going. We'll get everything kind of synchronized with that. But now we need to think about the build-up. So let's just assume at sometime between 250 and 300, this character realized, hey, I'm gonna shoot this ball of fire up in the air, right? So let's say at frame 300, it knows what it's gonna do at this point, right? So what's gonna have to happen is, I think it's gonna, just imagine if you're throwing a punch, right? Or let's just say if you're throwing a baseball, you don't throw the baseball just like, you don't shot put the baseball. You wind up, you really kind of dig in deep and contort your body and just let it rip, right? So that's the same thing here. Is we're going to contort the body to, it's really gathering up that energy to spit it out. So let's go ahead and say at this point, it's going to have its head really low, and it's really kind of getting ready for the big explosion, right? And we want the gather to be slow and the release to be quick. So let's just see how this looks. So slowly gathering, and boom, right? So I'm gonna go and try to just play this in real time. So slowly gathering, and then erupts with fire. And that actually looks a little bit too slow. So let's go even faster by moving this frame a little closer. In fact, maybe I'll space like this. So I moved that gather and the release a little closer, so it's a little more dramatic. See how it kind of shoots out of that position and it comes back down. And now he might come down a little too fast. So let's go ahead and move this out a bit and play it again. So it's gathering, and then it's boom, spits fire. It's done spitting fire. Now it comes back to reality, if you want to call it. It exits the Super Saiyan mode and comes back to just kind of toggling or idly looking around to its surrounding. So there you go, gather, shoot fire. I'm done shooting fire, I'm gonna go back to normal, kind of a deal. Okay, so now we got this movement done. You can definitely tweak it a bit. Let's go ahead, just for the sake of keeping this nice and brief, let's think about some of the other portions of this. So I'm gonna start off actually saying we didn't move last time. We didn't really move the body a whole lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in a keyframe at 250, and then we'll add another one at 650. Remember, we want to keep these identical, and that's why I add them at beginning and last. And now I want this body, so right around 300. Remember, it's starting to kind of at this point it knows what it wants to do, so it's gonna start gathering energy. And so what I want to do is sometime between 300 and let's say 800. I want to just rotate down just a little bit, not a very big rotation, but something subtle. So see how the body is kind of creeping in a little bit too, and then it shoots out. And I want to be at 400. I want to rotate the body backwards just a hair. Let me go ahead and rotate back just a little bit more, because it's really kind of extending itself at this point. And just extending, and then at 500, we'll say the extension is up. Yeah, I think that looks pretty. So let's check this out from the beginning again. So let's go to 250, and look at my left screen here. I see it extends, his body moves up a little bit, and then it comes back down, and his body comes down with it. Alright, so that's pretty decent there. Now, next thing is I want to consider is what are the wings doing during this whole entire ordeal. I'm gonna assume the wings are kind of like going to fan out, it's releasing its energy, and kind of the wings are going to sprawl out during this. So, but maybe when it's building up, the wings are going to kind of come in and kind of cover the character a bit, right? So let's go ahead, and I'm going to do one wing at a time. But I'm going to try to keep them fairly similar, because I do want to have a kind of symmetrical feel without being identical. So I want to start off by at 300, put a keyframe there. At 380, I want this to wing kind of come in here and shelter the Charizard. So maybe something. Let's go and try this one more time. I really like how that looked. So at 380, I'm going to rotate it about 25 degrees on the Z-axis. And then I'm going to, on the X-axis, rotate about 25 degrees as well. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I like how that looks. And so at 300, I'm going to jump over to the other wing and just set the keyframe to the default. And at 380, I'm going to do the same thing. Rotate the Z-axis, 25. And then rotate on the X-axis, 25 as well. So like I said, they should look fairly similar. I think that looks pretty good. So let's just take a look how this is. So the wings are coming in to kind of almost protect the character, and then when it kicks out at 400, these wings should be fluttering out real fast. So let's go with 410. Let's try that. At 410, I'm going to go ahead and copy the 300 frame on both of those. And then, in fact, I actually might want to even exaggerate this a little bit too. So let's go ahead and say at 410, let's rotate it out by additional 10 degrees on both the X and the Z. So it's at 410. Again, I'm going to rotate this 10 additional degrees. Oops, I think I did that one wrong. So if you do it wrong, it's not a big deal. You can just copy your default position again, and then from there, rotate it 10 degrees, and then 10 more degrees. There you go. So let's go ahead and see how this looks. So let's think about it. I was like, okay, let's build it up, shoot at the fire, the wings go out. I think the wings come out a little too slow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these just simply select the wing. And then I select the keyframes, and move them, just drag them forward. So let's try this one more time. And see, it still looks like the wings are almost coming out too slowly. So let's go ahead and move this up even faster. Almost might get to the point where it's too fast. And once it gets too fast, then we'll know kind of our range we need to hit. But I want these wings to really shoot out. And that is a little too fast because the head didn't quite shoot out in time with it. So let's go somewhere between maybe like 395 might be a good happy medium. Okay. That looks okay. I don't want to take too much more time tweaking this, but once everything's all fanned out, you can then have your. I'm just gonna select my default wing position, put it at 520 for both of these. And then from here, I might just do a couple little wing flutters, just to keep it something like that. Yeah, I think that should be fine then. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. Actually, while I have it, I'm going to go ahead and flower the wings just a little bit more. Like I said, just kind of give a unique look. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now, one thing I noticed is this wing, it does not have its last frame does not match the first frame. So I just need to come over here and just paste it in. Let's check that out. There you go. Now it's looping, no issue there. So I think the last thing, let's see. I still have two more. I still have to work on the arms and the tail. Now the tail, I'm not really sure what I want to do with the tail yet. But I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste the first and last frame. And I do think that the tail should be probably when... I do think that when the character spits out the fire, I want the tail to kind of curl a little bit. Well, maybe instead I want the tail to sway, but then also curl up as the fire is being spit. So 250, so let's say every 50 frames, it's swaying one way or the other. And first I'm just going to sway it. I'm just going to sway it 20 degrees for now. Every 50 frames. There you go. Make sure nothing's touching it. And once I have that, those first two done, I can just copy and paste. I have 50 frames, I just copy and paste. And I think that should be pretty good there. Alright, so now let's go ahead and look at this, make sure it's swaying in an appropriate fashion. And so there it goes, it's swaying, it's looking pretty decent. Maybe the sway is a little too fast, but I'm not going to be too concerned about that at this point. I did notice that I started on the wrong amount. So I have to go ahead and adjust these. Okay. That was pretty good there. So now what I want to think about is when the fire is out of the mouth, what's the tail doing? My initial thought was, let's go ahead and raise this tail up quite a bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put a keyframe right there, and then put a keyframe, or just a 400 keyframe, to curl up a little bit on the x-axis. Now do be careful that while we want to curl up, we don't want the wings to be interfering with it, because nothing breaks the illusion faster than you know, mesh colliding. So bring this up just so it doesn't quite collide, thing like that. And let's just make sure at no point are these two, see right there, see how it looks like I might be penetrating it. well, I guess let's look. Yeah, it's a little bit much, so I'm just gonna go ahead and rotate this down just there. Oops. So I think right here, if I just rotate down just a hair, that should be fine. Alright, so nothing touches now. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now that we have the tail completed, I'm just going to, kind of move the arms around. Nothing too crazy here. So let's go ahead and just, I'm going to take my 250 frame, copy that and paste it onto 650. And then for this, I'm just going to kind of bump through here and just tweak it. Actually, you know what? Now I think I probably should bring the arms in just a little bit and then almost like kind of spread them out as this character spit and fire. So scratch that, we are going to do something a little more particular. So I pasted at 300. I pasted the arms just a little, or paste the arm position, and then at about 380, I want to zoom in here. I want to see if I can get the arms to go up a bit. I want to see if I can get them to rotate in a bit as well, something like that. And tweak or fumble around, make sure it doesn't look too unnatural. And if you want to, you can also bring. I'm gonna go ahead and grab onto this forearm, which I haven't really animated forearm yet. So I'm going to set the rotation keyframe there, copy and paste that to 650. And I'm going to also paste that on 300. So between 300 and 380, I want to rotate this forearm in just a bit. And now I'm going to focus on my left screen, make sure I can see it. And the right screen, I'm just going to, like I said, rotate it in a little bit here. I might want to rotate, kind of roll it like that. Something like that should be good. Okay, and then once I hit 400, I'm going to click on the bicep again. And now I want this to spin out as much as I can without it looking too crazy. I actually want to bring it up as well. And then let's grab the forearm here and spin that out. And then want to spin it up. And maybe you're going to kind of be having to just finesse this, but something like that is pretty good, I think. Yeah, I like how that looks. And then from here you can kind of transition back to the default at 520 perhaps. Maybe 400. I'm going to copy that frame at 400 and we'll paste that at 500. Yeah, there you go. And then maybe from here I might. Yeah, I think it's good. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go to the beginning of this. We'll see how the arms look. So now I'm just really focusing on this arm, make sure it looks pretty good. So you see it comes in, spits fire, but the arm comes out, and then the arm should come swaying back in right afterwards. So I need to repeat this similar process. Oops, I had a really weird arm flail there. I'm not sure what that's about, so I'm going to go ahead and just remove that. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to repeat this process for the opposite arms. So at 300, or I guess I need first, oops, let's go and take 250, copy and paste that at 650. And that will help us keep this looping animation. At 300, at 380, and 400, and 500, I'm going to be pasting a few more of these frames. Okay, that should be good. So what I want to do here is from 300 to 380, I want this arm to start to work its way in. So I'm going to rotate a little bit there. Maybe even rotate a little bit on the Y. And then at 400, it should rotate out, and rotate up. So something like that should be pretty good. And we'll get this other arm going in a second. And then I just want to copy 400, paste on 500. I think that's pretty good. I can bring it down to here. Okay, so I should delete this one here, or maybe I can even, better yet, I'll take that and just move it over here. Somewhere about there. Alright, so now I'm going to grab onto this forearm, and because I haven't animated this particular forearm yet, there's no information, so I'm going to go ahead and insert a keyframe of rotation there at 250, insert a keyframe at 650, and then at 300 I'm going to just copy this keyframe and paste it 300. I know that 380 is supposed to look quite a bit different, so I'm just going to go ahead and, I think in this case I'm going to play it by ear. So this one I want to again rotate in quite a bit. Now as you can see, this is starting to poke into the belly. So I'm going to bring it up. I want to try and match the other arm as best as I can. And so now I want to rotate this way a little bit. Maybe I need to rotate. So make sure it's not poking the belly. It looks like it's just outside, so that's pretty good. And so then I want to, at 400, I want this to be kind of extended. And let's go ahead and rotate the Y and rotate the X. There you go. There's extended, and it comes back in. Now this one, let me go and click on that. So at 500, this one drops right back down. So I'm gonna go ahead and borrow the 400 frame and copy and paste it. Actually, I'm gonna take the 300 frame. So there's just a lot of kind of back and forth here. Like I said, it's really hard to know what's right and what's wrong. The best judgment is if it looks wrong. If it looks unnatural, it's probably wrong. Okay, so I think we're pretty good here. Let's go and watch this back. So it builds up this energy, spits it out, arms flailing, brings it back in, and it's all good. And then let's see if it repeats as it should. And it does. Okay. So the last thing, I promise you this is the last thing, is we need this jaw to open up right when the fire is shooting. This one shouldn't be very hard. It's really, you need to add the rotation for at frame 250. Add that same rotation at frame 650, and at frame 300, let's say that's where this character is like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go. So we'll say that's where between there and 380, he's gonna rotate the jaw just a little bit. You can tell, oh yeah, he knows something special's coming. And I realized I was animating jaw 2. In reality, I wanted to animate jaw joint 1 or bone 1. So let's go ahead and make sure you select the bone 1 versus 2. So yeah, 380. I'm going to just open the jaw just a little bit. Nothing crazy, but at 400, between 380 and 400, this jaw should be really extended at this point. It's like going for it, right? And I want to really push this as wide as I can make it without having it break the model too much. So I think something like this is probably pretty good. And then at 380, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to copy frame 400 and paste that to 500. So let's see, right when, so maybe like 480, the fire's dying down. And at 500, the jaw could be kind of closed again. There you go. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at this one last time. So really building up that energy, shoots it out, jaws nice and open, expanded arms, and then a nice looping animation that allows us to place over and over again if that's what we want to do. So this is a fairly long video. I do apologize for that. You know, and believe me, it could have been much longer. Sometimes when you're animating, you know, you're animating all these different bones. It really does take quite a bit of time to make it look more authentic and real. What we're gonna be doing in the next chapter, next video, we will be preparing these animations to export out properly, and allowing us to then import the animations correctly into Unity and split them up so we can actually run these animations in the game engine.